Welcome to this week's LoyalTV. Join us in downtown Oklahoma City as we explore the seedy past of some of our earliest entrepreneurs.
I don't think a lot of Oklahoma residents know what Oklahoma was like during those early days, just how vice-ridden it was. Every state had a Hell's Half Acre. This was just the one we had in Oklahoma City. The area that is the Cox Convention Center now, that was the heart of where a lot of the activity, a lot of the saloons, gambling halls, brothels. So this was an area where they were concentrated. And then there was the one area over by Broadway and Main. And just some of the most notorious dives was the Red Onion, the Blue Front Saloon, the Vendome. And then there was the area that was over by what is now Robert S. Kerr, near Walker, and it was known as Harlot's Lane. And this is where Big Anne Wynn had, first off, one of her brothels, known as the Arlington. And then next to the Arlington was Big Anne's Place, and it was a saloon and a gambling hall.
It looked like a big day.
There were just a lot of colorful characters.
Yeah, they're all coming to town.
Well, there was one man named Big George Garrison, and he was a gambler, and Daisy Clayton owned the Red Onion. When you go into a place like the Red Onion, the Blue Front Saloon, you didn't accidentally walk into a place like this. You knew what you were in for.
Well, it's good for business. It's all about the guns and carriages.
Big Anne Wynn was a lady from Colorado. When she arrived on the first day of the land run, she would have been 26 years old. She was described as a big, militant, beautiful woman. And she was able to deal with the more seedier associates, but she also dealt with the politicians, the businessmen. She was very influential. And anytime she did run afoul of the law or any of these entrepreneurs were arrested, by the time they'd get to the jail, their attorney was already there, the bail would be arranged, and they'd just turn around and leave. Oh, Oklahoma City had a pretty notorious reputation by then. There was all sorts of tourists. People came from all around. These were wild places. And if you had money, you were a customer.
Well, thank you.
And they weren't too particular about who their customers were. The lawmen, the politicians, they were men. You know, they enjoyed their drink, they enjoyed gambling and whatever else they were into. And on Sunday morning, they'd go to church.
What's this I hear about you being an outlaw?
There's my answer.
There was all of this corruption, but the politicians knew that this couldn't keep going. Now, prior to statehood, which was 1907, Carrie Nation, this very prominent prohibitionist, caught the ear of a lot of state politicians. So by the time of statehood in 1907, prohibition was the law of the land. Now, some of these saloons still stayed in operation, but they had to go underground. The city mayor was Henry Scales, and he was a law and order candidate. And he got with the chief of police, and they organized what was called flying squadrons. And what they would do is go into these establishments, gambling halls, saloons, and shut them down. Now, of course, just like in the movies, they had secret rooms to hide slot machines. People were leaving out of back doors. But the pressure on these establishments became so great that they eventually had to close. It had a good run, but like any such area, times keep changing and people change with it.
The next time you take a stroll through downtown, take a second to remember all the different characters that used to walk those same streets. Join us next week here on LoyalTV.